What if your car insurance company knew every single time you slammed on the brakes or took a corner just a little too fast? Well, it's not science fiction. It's happening right now, and millions of drivers have already signed up. So today, we're going to dig into the research on this tech that promises you cheaper insurance in exchange for your driving data. But the real question is, does it actually make us better drivers?
And that's really the big question we're tackling. I mean, we're all looking for ways to save a few bucks on car insurance, right? But could this be the thing that also makes our roads safer for everyone? We're about to find out what happens when you put a little coach in your car.
So what exactly is this coach in your car? Well, the official term is usage-based insurance, or UBI for short. The idea is pretty simple, but as we're about to see, the implications are actually huge.
Okay, so traditionally, your insurance rate is based on stuff like your age, your zip code, maybe even your credit score. You know, these big, broad categories that you get lumped into. UBI completely flips that on its head. It prices your insurance based on your actual driving. How you accelerate, when you drive, how hard you brake, all tracked by a small device you just plug right into your car.
Honestly, this is the easiest way to think about it. It's like a Fitbit for your car. You know how a Fitbit tracks your steps and heart rate to give you feedback on your health? Well, this little telematics device does the same thing, but for your driving habits.
Now, if you look at the official customer journey, it can seem a little, well, complicated. Lots of boxes and arrows.
But really, it all boils down to 3 simple steps. First, you sign up and plug in the device. Super easy. Second, you just drive like you normally would and you get real-time feedback. Some devices will even give you a little beep if you brake too hard. And finally, after a few months of that, your safe driving can earn you a real, permanent discount. That's it.
But here's the real question. Does that feedback loop actually change how people drive in the real world? Well, to figure that out, researchers got their hands on a massive, real-world dataset. This wasn't some small lab experiment. This was a 6-month driving test on a huge scale.
And this is so important. We're talking about data from more than 100,000 actual customers who chose to be in one of these programs. The data follows them day in and day out for 6 full months. This gives us an incredibly powerful look at whether people's driving habits really change when they know someone or something is watching.
So, after sifting through millions and millions of data points, what did they find? Did drivers get better, worse, or did they just kind of stay the same? Well, the answer was surprisingly clear. The single biggest, most telling stat was this one, a 21% reduction in hard braking. Now, hard braking is a huge red flag for risky driving. It usually means you're falling too close or just not paying attention. A 21% drop, that is a massive improvement in safety. And it wasn't a fluke either. You can see it right here in this chart. It shows this steady, consistent decline week after week. People weren't just on their best behavior for the first couple of weeks. They were actually learning and keeping up a new, safer way of driving over the entire 6 months.
But here's where the story gets a little more nuanced. While the quality of their driving got way better, the quantity of miles they drove didn't really change. People didn't start driving less to game the system for a discount. They just drove the miles they were already going to drive, but they did it more safely. So the program changed how people drive, not how much.
Now, as you can probably guess, the program didn't affect every single person in the exact same way. And when researchers started slicing up the data by different demographics, some really fascinating patterns started to pop out.
Take a look at this. This chart shows the driving score improvement across 4 different age groups. See that top black line, the one shooting up way faster than the others? That's the youngest group of drivers, under 35. Their improvement is just dramatically steeper than anybody else's. They start out with lower scores, but man, they learn and adapt incredibly fast.
I mean, this quote from the study really says it all. The youngest drivers, the ones we traditionally think of as the riskiest, improved so much that by the end of the 6 months, they were actually the safest group on average. Now, why is that? The study doesn't say for sure, but maybe they're just more used to digital feedback. Or maybe that potential discount just means a lot more when you're younger.
The data also show us some really different patterns between men and women. In this chart, you can see 2 totally distinct learning curves. That black line for the male drivers shows a faster improvement right at the beginning, but then it starts to flatten out. But the red line for female drivers starts a little slower, but just keeps climbing and climbing.
So what does that tell us? Well, it seems like men learned quickly, but women learned more thoroughly. By the time the 6 months were up, female drivers, who already had higher scores when they started, had also improved more than the male drivers.
This brings us to the biggest question of all. Why are people changing their behavior? Is it just a helpful feedback and the little beeps from the device? Or is there something else motivating them? To find out, the researchers did the smart thing. They followed the money.
Okay, so the study used this really clever natural experiment. In the United States, some states have what's called a no-fault insurance system. Now, for a whole bunch of reasons, this means average insurance premiums in those states are significantly higher. So a percentage-based discount in a no-fault state is worth a lot more actual cash in your pocket.
And this, right here, this is the smoking gun. Just look at the difference. That red line shows drivers in the high-premium, no-fault states. Their driving scores improve so much more than the drivers in the other states shown by the black line. It's pretty clear. When more money was on the line, people tried harder and became even safer drivers.
So we've followed the data and we've followed the money. Let's bring it all together to understand the final verdict on usage-based insurance. What does this all really mean for you?
The evidence is clear. These programs work. They make drivers safer, especially when there's a good chunk of money to be saved. The upside is obvious. You could get an average discount of around 12%, and our roads become safer for everybody. But, and this is a big but, there's a catch. You have to be willing to hand over a constant stream of your personal driving data to your insurance company.
And that is the ultimate question this technology leaves us with, isn't it? We know it can make us better drivers. We know it can save us money. But in an age where we're all thinking more about data privacy, you have to decide for yourself. Is that discount worth the price of being watched?